After the release of Final Fantasy XVI, it's evident that there wasn't a unanimous consensus shared amongst fans of the series. Like its predecessors, Final Fantasy XVI embarked on a quest for its unique identity, garnering both detractors and newfound gamers. So, when the announcement of 2 DLCs came, I pondered whether it would cater to those put off by the base game, or showcase its strength for the established fanbase. Well, it seems the development team wishes to lean into the new direction by doubling down on the action-based combat. In case you need a refresher, Final Fantasy XVI introduces a significant shift in the franchise, venturing into a fully fledged action RPG. This new direction, under the guidance of combat director from Devil May Cry 5, has elicited a mixed reception from the fanbase. Still, my extensive playthrough of over 120 hours showcased this as one of Square Enix's most polished releases. The narrative centers around Clive Rosfield, who has been thrust into a world rife with magic and political intrigue. The adventure excels in its deep lore and world building, with an emphasis on the active time lore menu and well-integrated side quests that enrich the main storyline and character development. The combat system manages to stand out with its icon abilities, offering a variety of customizable combat styles. Equipment and crafting are surprisingly straightforward, diverging from typical JRPG complexities. The combat is dynamic, focusing on staggering enemies and strategic use of icon powers. Despite these strengths, the game's magic system and antagonists do feel underdeveloped, lacking the depth seen in other game elements. Visually, Final Fantasy XVI is a spectacle, blending cinematic battles with immersive QuickTime events. For me, Final Fantasy XVI was a compelling evolution in the series, offering a rich, action-oriented experience. Its intricate world, compelling character arcs, and addictive action systems solidify it as a standout title. Despite some narrative and gameplay weaknesses, it remains a memorable and significant addition to the Final Fantasy franchise. Echoes of the Fallen DLC is set near the conclusion of the base game. To access it, players must reach the back of their origin objective in the main story and completed the priceless side quest. Afterwards, a simple chat with Karen at the hub activates the titular DLC, which is treated as an in-game quest. Players are tasked with unraveling the origins of the newly discovered Dusk crystals. Although they function like the standard crystals, they are far more fragile. Unscrupulous merchants have begun selling these faulty crystals to make a quick profit, prompting Clive, Jill, and Joshua to investigate. Aside from the opening scenes, where players encounter and chase down suspicious individuals in possession of Dusk crystals, the majority of gameplay unfolds in a new dungeon. To be candid, if you're expecting an emotionally charged narrative in Echoes of the Fallen, you probably won't find it here. The morsels of the new lore you discover are intriguing but serve as supplementary rather than substantial material. Instead, this DLC prioritizes gameplay. The new dungeon boasts a commendable array of endgame level enemies and fresh equipment that taps into the essence of what makes Final Fantasy XVI's combat so satisfying. Playing through this content in Final Fantasy mode on a New Game Plus was an exhilarating experience. It's worth noting that none of it proved particularly challenging, but the telegraphs and patterns of the various bosses are a joy to exploit to your advantage. In fact, I dare say the final boss of Echoes of the Fallen stands out as one of the game's absolute best. I won't spoil the details of the battle, but rest assured it combines spectacle and substance. The arena, its identity, and the accompanying music converge to create an exceptional encounter. The lesser bosses leading up to the final showdown are equally well designed, featuring clear tells for their attacks. If you relished the gameplay of Final Fantasy XVI, this DLC is genuinely worth your while. Additionally, you can discover a few accessories and obtain new weapons, which arcade mode enthusiasts will appreciate for its unique effects. The DLC offers some additional perks, notably the inclusion of the orchestral Roll Away 1987, which adds a new tune to the hub area, and Cloud Strife's iconic Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII. Thanks to the Final Fantasy XVI's Transfer Mog feature, you can utilize the Buster Sword's design regardless of your equipped weapon, enhancing the overall package's value. On a side note, a noteworthy feature introduced via a free update alongside the DLC's release is the inner voice functionality. Accessible through the Grand Cast menu, it allows players to explore certain characters' inner thoughts about their allies and adversaries. This addition adds depth to the multifaceted cast and serves as a delightful diversion for those who already thoroughly examined these menus. There may not be a lot to say about Final Fantasy XVI Echoes of the Fallen, but that doesn't necessarily signify a lack of quality. Its few hours of gameplay offers an enjoyable dungeon experience with memorable enemy encounters that rival and even surpass those in the base game. While the narrative may not be the main attraction, it does set the stage for the Rising Tide DLC, which has also been confirmed to be more substantial. Ultimately, Echoes of the Fallen is a worthwhile addition for fans, while those who are more hesitant should exercise caution. Noisy Pixel is giving Final Fantasy XVI Echoes of the Fallen an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers providing independent gaming coverage through news, reviews, previews, and more. Check out our Patreon to help support our continued growth, and subscribe to keep up for all our future content.
Noisy Pixel.